Howdy, howdy, howdy. How's it going? Can you hear me? Apologies for my bad live earlier driving back. It was just dicey connectivity and service, and phone got hot, so it had to shut off. Unnecessarily, but it is what it is. Thanks, AJ. Hey, Survival Buzz. Appreciate y'all showing up on short notice. I just sort of wanted to hash out what's going on internationally and regarding tough times and tough decisions that likely a lot of us are going to have to make. Is that if this thing doesn't take a detour, hey little boots, this thing doesn't take a detour, it could get pretty dicey with this Ukraine Russia thing. And don't forget, you got the Taiwan issue as well. Lots of irons in the fire, as we like to say here in Texas. A lot of things going on, but it is interesting to see all the chest thumping and chicken that's being played. Apparently, oh, thanks, Survival Buzz. Did it happen finally? Okay, it took a while. I don't know. I guess some of my content is not too glamorous. I don't seem to gain a lot of followers quickly, but that's okay. I'll just keep working at it. It'll happen when it's supposed to happen, I guess. But I just try to put out credible, decent content. I love talking to you people, and I love hearing what y'all have to say as well. It's all about learning and getting better, and increasing your skill base, your knowledge base, and being as best prepared as we can. I started counting broke down vehicles on the way back from East Texas, and I think I stopped it. It's only about a 2.5 hour drive on the interstate, and I counted about 17 vehicles that were on the side of the road, broke down, or with a flat tire or something. And it was pretty bad to see. It wasn't that long a stretch for that many vehicles. But that's sort of what made me want to do the video or the live earlier about are you traveling safe? And it has a lot to do with decisions that you make prior to going on a trip, right? I mean, we all get in a hurry, and we all probably don't stop and think about things that could happen prior to going and just impulsively doing things. So it is what it is. We just have to get better at that, I think. Hey, Leroy, how you doing, bud? Hey, Awkward. Good to see y'all. Appreciate y'all showing up. But tough decisions, I know Leroy is a Cold War era vet like myself, and I can remember back during the Cold War when it was really, really serious and tensions were high, and we knew that we had an enemy. And we knew that, in Germany, that's where I was stationed. I was actually in a nuclear capable artillery unit at the time. And we had, we did have, we had land-based nukes, we were a nuclear unit, 8-inch artillery, self-propelled howitzers. And, we had about a 30-second life expectancy if things were to go up, if the balloon were to go up. And I think those of us that served during the Cold War understand this deal with Russia, that it's not a joke. And Putin is an old school KGB guy with a strategic blood running through his veins. And I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm just telling you that I don't necessarily just think that Putin is pounding his chest here. I think that, yeah, I hear you, Leroy. Yeah. But, we should have gone back, in my opinion, we should have gone back to a Cold War approach with these people years ago. And with the technology and social media the way that it is, we got way too many loose lips out there. And it's, intel is every second of the day and night, intel's gathered. But, it was a serious time. And so when I say that, you know, tough times will create tough decisions, it's true. Of course, if we get into lobbing, you know, radioactive material around, all bets are off primarily. Um, there's a historical precedent that's always been around. When a particular government gets in trouble, they like to start wars. They like to start wars, and I don't put anything past either side of this deal at all. There you go. I like that. I like that. Um, so I remember going on full ammo upload alerts and all that stuff over there, and we didn't really know. I mean, we hoped that it wasn't the real deal, the final countdown, as you would say. But we prepared and prepped like this was going to be a nuclear war, and like I said, we had about a 30-second life expectancy. And of course, artillery was my first duty in the Army, and then I went to Army CID, which is the felony investigations branch, of the Army. And we basically investigated felony level crimes. So that was after the Cold War ended. My artillery unit basically deactivated. It was part of the drawdown agreement with the Soviet Union at the time, and we had to get rid of all land-based nukes officially from Europe. And so I think a lot of that stuff is going to come back, and I think the Germans in particular are probably not real fired up about us having left Germany at their request way back. I think they're probably regretting that decision, in my opinion. But nevertheless, tough decisions. Yeah. I mean, it may get tough enough where I think some people, like the videos show, are already having trouble finding groceries and finding supplies, and fuel is skyrocketing and everything else. But it seems to be a regional thing. And I don't know about you, Leroy, but in my area of North Texas, shelves are pretty good right now. I'm not going to sit here and try to say that it's not going to eventually be the same as other places that are struggling. It may be. Maybe it's just because we're open, and maybe because we're fully going with the economy here, but maybe not. I don't know. I've been trying to figure out the supply disparity for a long time, and I can't seem to figure it out. We've got a worker shortage just like everybody else, but our shelves seem to be more full for some reason. If you guys know, let me know. Please let me know. Fill me in. But I've been curious about that for a while, why that is. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Leroy. I've seen a few holes here and there, but nothing like I see online, like you. I mean, and if there is something that's low in a store, I'll be able to go across town and probably find it at a different store. So I don't know if that's been your case either, but that's been the case for me. Um, but I would we all talk about the deep state and all this stuff, and I think there may be something to that, and I think that hey Lisa, I think the reality of I'm not going to say the martial law will become part of this deal. It may, but I certainly hope not. But from what I hear, and my sources tell me that the part of the military is working on some domestic level detainment stuff, and it's not good, and I think the purge of the military brass that did not necessarily accept or embrace the wokeism that the new government required of them, have been washed out and purged, and they're out of the way. And so I think that they'll be able to further drive and control the level of thinking and opinion by current service members to get in line, and whether it's lawful or not, do their bidding. Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong, but you know, times have just changed from everything from public school curriculum to social reengineering of kids to propaganda being taught at a young age. The public schools have had a chokehold on learning at a from a young age for decades now, and we all know which way most of them lean. Not all of them, but most of them, especially the big cities. You know, they they uh, they have they have re-engineered and programmed a lot of the youth, and these kids vote now. Now they go vote. Exactly, Valerie. I agree with you. And that's right. That's right, Buzz. We gotta wake up and as a group, and I know a lot of us individually do this already, but there's a lot of people out there worried about getting shut down off YouTube. You know what? I'm like of the opinion I'm going to try to keep things credible and not talk in hyperbole and just blind rhetoric. I'm going to try to give credible information in my opinion on certain things from my background, and I typically won't give opinion or talk about stuff that I'm not very familiar with. In other words, go along with rumors. I really try to keep things legit and credible. And if I'm not sure about a topic, I'll refer to somebody else because I don't want to give bad information. So, if I get shut down, I get shut down. That's fine. At least I'm going to try to put out good information that can help people. And I want to get good information from other people as well. Again, credible sources and people. It's important that we have that, and don't be accused of just throwing out fear mongering and all that. Hey, Lucky, appreciate y'all showing up tonight. Again, sorry for the broken live I tried earlier on the way back from East Texas, but it just didn't work out. And again, being prepped is one thing, and buying materials and supplies is great. And it can get out of and it can consume you, unfortunately. But we also have to get our mindset right, and it's not always about buying something. It's about improving skills. And, I always tell preppers when they first start, I said, don't just go out and spend $500 on a bunch of preps in a panic setting. What you need to do is you need to look around your house. First, you need to make a list. Second, you need to go look around your home or your garage and see what you already have. And you may have things that are already available to you, or you don't have to spend money on. Maybe you have a skill that you can barter for things. It's not always about just spending money. And so I know a lot of people have struggled of late, and some of our friends on YouTube have struggled of late with the economy and jobs and bills and health problems. And a lot of people are already having to use their preps. And I'm not going to mention any names, but I know a lot of you know who I'm probably talking about. But thank God that they're prepped and they have abilities to get through tough times. Hey, Bigfoot, good to see you, bud. Thanks for stopping by. Exactly, Cold War prepper. Exactly. I have inherited a gene from my grandfather who was a cheap hoarder. And he would put away anything that he thought he would need later, anything of value that he might need later. And it's sort of a curse, but it's also a skill too, I think, because it can, I'm not saying I'm a hoarder. I'm just saying that I'm frugal, and taught from a young age to don't just throw things away because maybe you have too many of them, or maybe they're in the way. Maybe you just need to consolidate and repackage some stuff and compartmentalize it, and you'll have something for later. So in terms of that kind of stuff, I'm talking about like, rope, cord, parts, screws, washers, bolts, nuts, things like that. You'd be surprised, what you have laying around if you just go through it and, put that stuff in a package or a bag or a bottle or something or a box, and that way you can label it and know what you got. And it's just one of those things that I'm kind of glad that he taught me that. It's not always about buying something. If I can use a washer that I have at home, a washer like a bolt washer, and maybe it's not exactly the right size for what I'm doing, but it will work. I'm not going to go buy another washer because this one may be just a hair too big. I'm going to use that washer if it will work safely. Another thing too is manual tools, obviously hammers, screwdrivers, hatchets, saws, things like that. If we end up catching an EMP, it's pretty much back to the Stone Age, and it'd be nice to have manual tools to be able to do stuff with. Hopefully you've got some EMP protected devices at your home. There's different, obviously outlets for that kind of stuff. Exactly, Buzz. Use what you have available. That's right. Good for you, Valerie. That's right. At least you were ready. Exactly. And I don't know if you guys and gals do this, but I have I went online on Amazon and I bought these racks. I'll do a video on it at some point, but it's a rack for canned goods. And it's basically a two-tiered metal rack, and it allows you to pull from the bottom, and that way you can stack your cans in there by expiration date, and you can pull from the nearest expiring can and use it. But they're online on Amazon. You can get them. They're sort of high. I want to say it was $20 for like two of them, but they're pretty handy. But I think they're just called canned good storage racks or something like that. But you'll see that they're kind of a tiered metal rack, and it's got a little ramp at the bottom like that, and it keeps the can from rolling off. But you pull from the bottom and the cans just keep filling in. They make them for sodas too, like for your refrigerator. But they're pretty handy, and it'll keep you keep your cans organized where you can just pull from the quickest to expire, I guess I should say, and keep you from wasting money on that end. But I seriously want to watch this thing in Russia, because he kind of has a point. I'm not going to say here that I'm a big fan of Vladimir Putin, but listening to him talk, he sort of has a point with, us putting, rockets and missiles at his doorstep with no buffer in Ukraine. I get it. I can understand that. We don't want them putting missiles in Cuba and Venezuela, do we? But what's he supposed to do? So I'm not excusing his behavior or anything like that. The guy's a stone cold killer. I think we all know that. But to listen to him talk about, again, we've been in countless wars that were, not really authorized. I'm not going to say we didn't have reason to go into some of these places, and I'm a veteran and I support the military, and it's not the military's issue. It's politicians that, use the military for their various things of that nature, and lining their pockets and their buddies' pockets and things like that. And I'm not excluding either party from that either. So he sort of has a point, about all that we've done in the past and how we've never been held to account for some of the things that we've done and the nations that we've, done things to. And again, I'm not saying some of it wasn't justified, but we've caused a lot of havoc. Exactly. A Cold War. Exactly. Exactly. And so I don't blame the guy for wanting to defend his people and have a buffer in place. And no, you're right, Valerie. He's a tactician, and I think he knows exactly what he can get away with. And you know, I really worry more about the amateurism in this government from a international politics view than anything else. I'm worried more about what we do versus what he's going to do. And it's going to be interesting to see, who blinks first. And like anything else, I have a sneaky suspicion that, we'll leave them hanging out to dry in Ukraine quick. That's what my guess is. Now, the ones that really should be worried, in my opinion, are the Europeans. But I don't think, again, I think the amount of amateurism involved in this administration is uncanny, and it worries me. And we're too busy about being woke and making sure we don't offend anybody, and we make sure we're all inclusive and that there's equity here and there. We have got our eyes completely off the ball. You're absolutely right, Cold War. Hey, Danny, good to see you, bud. Welcome aboard. I am truly not liking this feeling that I've got, and I just hope we're not asleep at the switch. You know, um, again, I support the military wholeheartedly as long as they're operating under legal authority and operating in a lawful manner. And I certainly hope that you know the guys and gals on active duty and the reserves and guard understand that there's a lot of different levels of us veterans out here and God fearing patriots that uh, aren't enemies of the U.S. military right now. And just like police, I'm a supporter of the police as long as they're doing the right thing. And if they're not, if they abide by the Constitution, and if they are within the law and within the rights and bounds of their jurisdiction, and they make lawful decisions, I got no problem with it at all. Hey, Buzz, I'll see you later. Thanks for showing up. But there's no need for them to be militarily or law enforcement. There's no need for them to make unnecessary enemies out of us because they need us. I can promise you. So tough decisions. I think we do have some coming, especially the administration, because one wrong move could set this thing off. I remember back on active duty, we would have accidents all the time. When you start moving people and equipment around, aircraft around, passing out ammo, getting on the range, you're relying on a lot of times young military personnel that don't have a lot of experience, and they're probably scared, and it doesn't take much to have an accident. It doesn't take much at all. Cold War can tell you that. You don't have to have much go wrong to have an accident. Just on a normal day at the firing range, you can have accidents very easily. And you get one guy that pops off around, accidental discharge or something, and that could set it off. And so I don't think Vladimir moved all this personnel and equipment into place for beating his chest and trying to intimidate. I really don't. I think he is genuinely concerned about losing his buffer between NATO and his country. And he's already hit Crimea. I mean, we didn't do a damn thing. So they've already penetration tested the area, and they know what we're willing to do. You know, and he's taking advantage of his window. See, when all these morons voted this clown into office, they set off a string of bad decisions. And you know, the this is going to sound horrible, but the ignorant American voter is a dangerous thing. And you know, I don't know about you people, but I wasn't voting for the Pope. I was voting for who was going to keep us safe and keep the government out of our lives. That's who I voted for. And you said exactly right. Me too, Cold War, me as well. And Valerie, I agree with you. There's a window of opportunity here, and Vladimir is going to expose it and get what he can get, or worse. I'm afraid that this voting rights bill, etc. It's it's so comical that why is the left concerned about who counts the votes? I mean, we have a constitution. The states control the vote counting, and it worked out pretty good for them last time, didn't it? So there's going to always be a reason for mail-in voting with these guys in power. I mean, they've got to have it, because when you have mail-in voting, you can control who counts the votes, and you can control who produces the votes. And again, people have to get over the fact that 45 wasn't a choir boy. No, he was not. Hey, Simon, you're not late. I just threw this thing on at the drop of a hat, but thanks for showing up. They have to have mail-in voting. Just like when that runoff happened in Georgia, I knew damn good and well they weren't going to let either one of those seats go to the right. They made sure of it. So I would expect more of that. Exactly, Cold War. I think we've got some real problems, and I'm not just throwing that out there lightly. I think that the level of ineptitude and chaos that runs through this administration has put us all in extreme danger. And what do y'all think? I mean, I'm curious as to what the temperature is in the chat about this feeling that I have. I mean, Putin is a tactician. He was, I think, the former head of the KGB, if I'm not mistaken. I know he was in the KGB at a high level. I think he was the actual director for a period of time. But I mean, I'm curious as to what you guys and gals think. If I'm off base here, or y'all have the same feeling. And I don't mean to be, I'm not trying to use hyperbole or scare tactics. I'm legitimately curious as to how you all feel about it, and whether or not, you can trust this government to make the right decision on behalf of us. I don't think we can. The gas is still around $3 here, and it goes up and down, based on the week, based on the situation. But I like I said, keep my tank half full, and try to not let it get below that point, because I got to be able to get to where I'm going. Yeah, I agree with you, Lucky. It's just it's really it's really sad that so many people in this country just want life to be easy. I think for a lot of people, especially the younger generation, they haven't had to really work for anything. And I'm painting with a broad brush. Of course, some of them have worked hard, very deservingly, you know. But with so many people not having to work hard, you get soft. This nation really hasn't ever had to suffer long term. Think about it. We had the Depression, that was bad, right? But the people that went through the Depression busted their ass, had kids, taught their kids how to work, and then those people forgot how to be tough and teach their kids how to work. Exactly, Simon. So if you got kids and you got young grandkids, you better grab them and you need to educate them and get them off their gaming systems, and make them watch some movies or talk to them at the table. Because I've got a bunch of little, I got cousins that have young kids, a bunch of them, and they're all living the dream and having a great time. And that's great. I want kids to have fun. But if this thing goes south, they just became, scouts. Exactly, Simon. And I want kids to have a good life. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, playing Call of Duty. Hey, Tanya. Thanks for coming. For a long time, these kids are playing Call of Duty and whatever, and they think that that's real stuff. I was in a McDonald's last year, and I went inside and I ordered I ordered off the little kiosk thing. And this kid, I say kid, he was probably 20, 22. He was like I guess an assistant manager. Anyway, I had some military stuff on, and he could tell I was in the army, and he started talking to me, and I was just being cordial and polite, and he was asking me questions, and I was answering his questions, and he starts telling me about the fact that he's a master sergeant and this and that, and I'm like, really? I'm like, wow, you're pretty young to be a master sergeant. That's an E8, you know, uh, pretty impressive. And then he goes, yeah, he goes, I got promoted like last week on Call of Duty, and I'm like, are you shitting me? Excuse my French. And this guy thought that he was like in the military. And I'm not coming down on people for gaming, but man, we got to keep it real, because here's what's going to happen. As the balloon goes up, it's going to happen at night. You're going to be in bed. It's going to be chaos. You're not going to have any communications. You're not going to have any power. That's just how it works. I mean, do people think that we're the only military that puts people in the dark before we come in? No. Exactly, Simon. I agree with you 100%. So we got a lot of work to do to make these kids wake up, and a lot of adults too. You know, I mean, these people are worried about their Starbucks and why Sirius XM doesn't, cooperate right, and it's just but a lot of people have stuff twisted, from a reality standpoint, and I know that a lot of times kids are impatient. They've been sort of engineered to be that way, with the instantaneous, expectations of results, and they're all on these Chromebooks at school, and they're going to have a really tough time if the balloon goes up. I'm telling you, a lot of us are going to have a tough time, and a lot of us know what it feels like. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be deadly for a lot of people. Yeah, just think. Just think Cold War. I mean, it's already brazen attacks right now. Wait till the lights go out and stay out. That's good, Simon. I like that. Do a better job, probably. Um, and the bad part is that this government, maybe not. I think the government, some people in the government understand, and the top brass that wears our uniform, different uniforms, including the Joint Chiefs, they know how dangerous this is. They know. A lot of these guys are Vietnam era, you know, and I don't know what they're saying, but we're just kind of floating along. You don't hear hardly any of this stuff about Russia on the news. And we're just floating along like everything's great. They'll keep flooding the economy with cash, and everything's just great. Everything's going to be fine. Nothing to see here. And it's just so synthetic. You know, and I'm just working, as much as I can, and saving what I can, and I buy what I have to buy, and other than that, I'm just pretty much, status quo. I would expect, more variance as well. That's not going to stop. That's the blueprint now, and that's pretty sad, you know. But again, they need a reason for mail-in voting, and I have a feeling that there's just not enough people that will stand up and combat it internally, with the constriction of rights, and the likely restriction of movements if we come to a martial law situation. I don't know if there's enough people that's going to stand up. No, no, totally, totally Cold War. I'm more worried about them lobbing something in here to put us back in the dark ages. What happened, man? How'd you hurt your arm? But another thing, there's going to be a live on Off the Wall Prepper on Wednesday, the continued Battlefield series, 7 p.m. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central. Going to be about medical kits. I would highly encourage everybody to tune into that. And as far as medical kits go, I'm not an expert on first aid or anything like that. I've got special training in certain areas, but I'm not an expert and I'm not a professional. But oh God, sorry, Cold War, that sucks. Um, You need to up your medical kits, people. You have to be prepared to do anything you can to stay out of the hospital. And I know being sick sucks, and the Rona is nothing to be played with, especially if you're an older person with underlying conditions. But you need to be prepared to do anything you can personally to stay out of a damn hospital. And I have somebody very close to me that would agree with that exact opinion and has told me that. And this person is an ICU professional. So uh, don't forget the dental stuff either. You know, dental pain is one of the worst things you can go through, at least for me. Man, it sucks. I hated it. But, um, you know, there's all kinds of things that you can go get at a decent price right now if you need it. And make sure you got yourself covered. But anyway, yeah, little boots. I mean, you know, you don't have to go crazy. You can't, you know, I mean, I've got a pretty souped up kit, but I again have somebody, you know, that's capable of utilizing the things in this kit. Sutures, I've got IV equipment, you know, IV bags, I've got splints, I've got wound wash. It's more of a trauma kit on steroids, you know, is what I've got. And it's again, I have somebody that's fully capable of implementing those devices, you know, if it were to come to that. So I'm not running around trying to give people IVs, but I've got the material if I need to. Well, Lucky, you can't think like that. You just got to approach it from a, you got to approach preps from a clear path of thinking, right? Start out with 3 to 6 months. Once you get there, go to 6 to 9 months, 9 months to a year, and just think of it like that. And again, you know, as far as food goes and preps, you know, we all have to have food and nutrition, but don't don't prep. In my opinion is this: don't prep like you eat now. I mean, buy the things that you eat, yes, but you know, if the balloon goes up and or we go through another depression, everybody's going to be limited on their consumption. Everybody just went on a diet plan, severe, because you're just going to be able to eat enough to keep you alive. You know, MREs in the military. You know, MREs are not, at least when I was in, they certainly weren't made for taste. They were made to keep you alive, and they were made to be portable and long shelf life, all climates. That's right, little boots. Don't forget that. But buy the things, in my opinion, you should be buying things that are light and long shelf life and things that you just add water to. If you think you're going to be lugging a bunch of canned goods around if you have to evacuate, you're sadly mistaken. I'm thinking protein powders, things like that. I think the most likely scenario of anything attacking us at the homeland is going to be terrorism, mass terrorism, and possibly an EMP or biological. Well, they already hit us with the biological. See the Rona. So I don't know, folks. I got a bad feeling on it, and I don't think I think Vladimir has somewhat sort of backed himself into a hard position. He's saying he'll do this, he'll do that, and if we just keep prodding him, he's going to run out of credibility with his people. And so um, keep that in mind too. But again, like I said, the likelihood, in my opinion, and my limited knowledge of, you know, military strategy, um, it's going to happen at night. It's going to be chaotic, and you're not going to be able to call or talk to anybody. You agree with that, Cold War and Simon? We used to have a saying in the Army that we own the night. I agree, Simon. I don't think any nation wants a guerrilla war here on the mainland. I really don't. I think they know that's a suicide mission. I think they have to make a statement and put us on our knees right away to make the point, to make life so uncomfortable and so scary that we just say, okay, whatever you want. I hope that our, silos are EMP proof. I don't know. But if you want to get somebody's attention, shut their power off, shut the water plants down. We've got this little ranch out in West Texas, and we've upgraded it quite nicely, and we've made some improvements, and we've got a lot of capabilities out there. But sometimes we are sitting in the heat, in the summertime, and it just sucks. And we're like, or in the winter, like I said, it was 20 degrees this weekend. One night low was the Saturday night low was 20, I think, and very windy. And we just were sitting around the fire and talking about, how the hell do they do it back in the pioneer days? How the hell did they get through those prairies and all that terrain with nothing but a covered wagon? A covered wagon and basically the clothes on their back. I mean, talk about tough people, and I consider myself, pretty tough. But to think about how they would just be traveling across, the plains or whatever in the prairies, and a tornado just comes, I mean, we've got all this advanced warning, and all this technology, and people are still getting wiped out by tornadoes. These people just were tough, and they knew how to get through things. And and I'm not, believe me, I love technology, and I love to have the ability to heat our homes, and you know all that. Yeah, how you doing there, farmer son? Good to see you, bud. Um, but it's amazing to me that they could, and a lot of them died at a young age, and that's true. But a lot of them got through it just from being tough and skilled, and that's true. There are tons of snowflakes out there, my gosh, it's just the parents that raise these snowflakes have really done themselves a disservice, and the country a disservice, and it's just like anything else, um, you know, we the people will end up having to clean this up. The middle class is going to get squeezed again, same old stuff, and you know, the worker bees, we'll have to go out and clean this up like everything else. But stay on your toes, people. Uh, Again, I think when you go out, to the store or wherever it is, to work or church or whatever, you need to expect something to happen. I don't want you to be scared. I don't want you to be, anxious, but be empowered enough to expect something to go wrong and have a plan to go get through it, get home, or whatever it is that you need to do. You know, expect things to go sideways. And I think if you sort of have that, view, and always are checking your mirrors and knowing, what's going on around you, you're in a really, really good position to stay safe. And there is so they have, you know, they have propped up the criminal as the victim, and they have criminalized free speech in opposition to the current ruling party. How's that? How's that grab you? So the January, you know, Capitol deal, if they really wanted to do something to that building, they would have burned it to the ground. Now, I'm not agreeing with the breaking and entering and all that, but come on now. And what they're going to do is use that as the fulcrum to further criminalize anybody that stands up for America and the Constitution. How's it going? How's it going, buddy? Good to see you, Radio Prepper. And you've got to always have something at disposal with regards to self-defense items. I'm not saying you got to carry one of these, but you need to have something, and you need to be trained, and you need to practice. I mean, hell, I'm one of the, I know, we talked about this the other night, you have to be honest with yourself. If you need more training in an area, be honest with yourself and go get the training. Don't take unnecessary risks. Exactly, color drop. I guess I need to change my name too then, huh, Cold War and Camo Patriot. Hell, is that the new trend? I guess I got to change my name too. Maybe I'll come up with something. I'm not growing very fast, so maybe that's the problem. Well, Lucky, talk to somebody locally that you may know that can help you out, or maybe go to a gunsmith. But I'm willing to look at it. Not look at it personally, but talk to you about it if it's something that you've got a problem with. Again, there's Simon right there. He'll help you out. But I don't know about exactly, Valerie. Exactly. Yeah, Lucky, a gunsmith, maybe. I mean, yeah. Yeah, there you go. You're getting all kinds of help. See, just got to put it out there. But as I mentioned earlier in my attempted live from the highway, I've also added a long gun to my inventory in my vehicle. And the reason for that is that I want something heavier than a handgun if I'm on the road. Hey, CJ, welcome aboard. I want something heavier than a handgun if I'm on the road. if I've got a situation where I've got multiple people attacking, or if I need to penetrate a vehicle, I want to be able to have something heavier than a handgun. And um, that's just how I feel about it. And I run buckshot and slugs in it. And that's just how I feel about it. And that's just how I roll. And it's legal to do so. And I'm very careful with it. And it's hidden and it's not in plain view and it's secured. And, it's one of those things that once you get in the habit of doing it, you're just going to do it. And you're not going to think twice about it. And, you know, yeah, I hear you, Cold War. But, here's my thing. I love this thing right here. I love it. It's so fun to go out and train with, and it's cool to have. And I'm familiar with it because of my military days. But I also like AKs. But if it really goes down, I'm grabbing the tactical shotgun. And when the proverbial crap is flying, marksmanship goes way downhill. It's not like being on range, laid up on the table, or climate controlled, building. Yeah, that's a good point, Simon. You might have some lint or something up in that mechanism that's not allowing the magazine to fully lock into the firearm. But I would seriously consider the fact of carrying a long gun in your vehicle. I just would, as long as you can do it safely and it's legal. I'm telling anybody to break the law. Um, but anyway, I really think we need to pay attention to what's going on. And apparently, we're not going to hear much about it on the regular news, if you want to call it news at all. Um, I don't know what news channels you guys and gals watch. I typically watch OAN or Newsmax with a sprinkle of Fox now and then, but I'm not very impressed with them. And, they're sort of woke too and all that jazz. So, anyway, I'm going to cut it off and end it. But I appreciate everybody showing up. I really hope that you that like this, and hopefully it gave you some information that you didn't have before. But I'll keep doing these, and I appreciate it. And please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the thumbs up. I would appreciate it. And thanks to the mods. But I'll be checking in with y'all as we go along here. So with that, keep prepping, stack it deep, and long live the Republic.